Okay, at this point, the 10-year saga that is Verlisify has pretty much ran way past its course here, and it's gotten to the point where even covering his antics are just not really all that fun or needed, until now. I mean, nothing the man says should be shocking for all intents and purposes, because he deliberately goes out of his way to purposely be inflammatory, contrarian, and negative, all for clicks and attention. Keep in mind, the OG fans remember, Verlis, how you compared your controversy with Smogon to a publicity stunt. That is how you got this reputation, to begin with, that everything you say and do is meant as a publicity stunt. Also, you said yourself that you call negative publicity good publicity. I held off from addressing this 10-year-old tired and lame soap opera called Verlisify, but lately his garbage has been getting a bit on the annoying side, where it's like a fly that can't effectively harm you, buzzes in your face for a modicum of attention. Well, my dog, you want attention? You got mine, so here's your 2 minutes in the spotlight. Let's take you back to around April 9th, where he makes his video titled WTF Gaming News, Pokemon Go Raid Pass Drama / Monster Energy Sues Everyone. The main reason I'm tackling this video is because of his horrendous inflammatory takes regarding what's been going on with the Pokemon Go community, the remote raid pass debacle, and the overall hearusniantic movement.
Alright, so Pokemon Go, what's happening here and why is everyone crying? We have a pretty viral tweet, almost 500,000 views, a lot of retweets, quote tweets, and likes. Well, we got this amid accessibility concerns, because Pokemon community always gotta spin it into something that isn't really happening. Pokemon Go fans call remote raid pass changes the beginning of the end.
We're not even 1 minute into the video, and there is already no redeeming this. This part here already leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Are you kidding me? You want to say that accessibility concerns for Pokemon Go players is quote-unquote spinning it into something that isn't really happening? It's always been a thing, Tony. Pokemon Go, since inception, has always favored the able-bodied players that play in big cities. Anyone below that had less and less chance to enjoy the game to the fullest. When remote raids were a thing, as well as other things that buffed the game's overall quality of life during the COVID-19 era, those all were highly praised, and people who had issues with accessibility, be it a handicap physically, mentally, emotionally, etc., and those who lived in rural areas with little to no in-person community and or support. I can say firsthand that the in-person communities and online communities were splintered and borderline destroyed because of Niantic and their recent inappropriate actions and mishandlings when it comes to this controversy. When Niantic stripped all these changes back or severely nerfed them, it was the wrong thing to do. Accessibility has always been a concern, just now it's more known since the situation you know nothing of, by the way, has blown that fact up and people acknowledge and take notice to it. I get why Pokemon Go was conceived in the first place, but understand, Tony and Niantic, too, if your candy asses are watching, like Pokemon, times also evolved. And not always for the best.
The devblog states, since their introduction in 2020, remote raid passes have come to dominate the experience of playing Pokemon Go in a way we never intended. And it's kind of crazy just like how entitled and bratty the Pokemon community always is, man. They defend hacking and cheating in the video games. Nothing's being done about also the rampant cheating and toxicity in the TCG. And now, like Pokemon Go, the game built to participate in person, to go outside, to actually work for your things, well, that kind of got cut back because couldn't go outside as much in 2020. That's 2023. Pandemic is over.
What you need to understand is that things change and you have to adapt. Pokemon Go adapted for a time, and then trying to go back to a lost time from 2016 is reckless at best and downright tone deaf and anti-consumer friendly at worst. I understand the desire to go back to 2016. I understand it more than I want to get into because it was truly a sentimental year for me and countless others. You also want to throw around your weak-ass buzzwords like bratty and entitled because, well, Verlisify, that is on brand for you. You can't go without throwing insults at people without logic other than impulsive remarks, and you constantly dump gas onto an open flame that you start. He also tries to somehow conflate this issue with defending cheaters and hacking? Okay. How does this even make a modicum of sense, let alone relate to each other? Please explain this. Also, Verlisify, no, the pandemic isn't over. Get your head out of your ass and quit being a one-man centipede.
And now we need to return to normal Pokemon Go, but in 3 short years, everyone got entitled and forgot how any of that works. And we saw it back in 2016 when Pokemon Go first came out and went crazy viral. There were just hordes of people running around cities finding rare Pokemon, and that's what the game is about. But now it's just like another mobile game you play at home because of the remote raids. That's getting taken away, and now it's like, oh, Pokemon Go's dead, even though it's not what Pokemon Go was ever intended to be. The developer says, rewarding trainers with additional Candy XL. Other new features are 2 ways we hope to further incentivize playing Pokemon Go in person with your friends, family, and community. Oh man, you have to go outside to get more rewards, and you're limited how much you can play remotely. Game dead. To summarize, Niantic is doubling the cost of playing Pokemon Go remotely and limiting how much you can play. Accessibility advocate and COO of Able Gamer Steven says, this is what we call a disability tax. This is fake outrage. Pokemon Go was never intended to be this. It did have like the accessibility concerns in the past, but people got over those, or that's just kind of it. Not everyone is able to play every single game ever, no matter how much you want to play that game. And it was even announced with all this like remote stuff going on by the developers, it's going to be temporary because the world's on lockdown. This is just the terminally offended and outraged culture that's been like ruining everything for the last couple of years. And it's just these brats that have like no power or influence just making all these like fake campaigns. It's time to strike. 13,000 upvotes on just Reddit Pokemon, not Pokemon Go, but Pokemon Reddit, because all people know how to do in the Pokemon community is be toxic and complain, and not actually fight for anything that means anything.
You love defending what Niantic is doing to Pokemon Go and their players, trying to shove their mission down our throats. Yet, I'd love to know your thoughts about how Niantic is handling the new Monster Hunter game, where its mechanics and info revealed thus far contradict the mission of Pokemon Go. But hey, keep on talking about the fake outrage, name-calling, and culture that ruin everything, because that's what you'd say about anyone that even slightly doesn't align with your views. You better recognize that the world doesn't revolve around your ideals, and it never will. The Pokemon community is fighting for something that means a lot to them, the ability to play. Communities have been in shambles because of Niantic's recent choices, and the community fights for more than just the remote raid passes, more than just the countless bad changes, ideas, issues, and more. They fight for the love of their communities of friends and fellow players because they have had some of the best memories during dark times, be it personal dark times or global dark times in the case of COVID-19. He goes on about other things while being all over the place and incoherent, as well as demonstrating him lacking knowledge in subjects he thinks he can speak on.
Pokemon Go nonsense, and like I said, it's like, oh, being overdramatic as well, like, this destroys remote raids. Well, I mean, technically it does. Like, this is the phasing out of remote raids, which were never intended to be, like, a permanent thing. And then people are trying to, like, say, like, yeah, you need to stop this and whatever. And Mystic 7 is one of the most egregious shills ever in Pokemon. Remember the first Pokemon Go Fest when he had to interview his cousin because everyone else was hating the event? And he was just trying to, like, pretend everything was okay and he got backlash for it? Crazy how that didn't end his career. But like I said, there's no morals in the Pokemon community.
I find it funny as well, Verlisify, that you tried to throw people under the bus like Mystic 7, who, yeah, in absolute fairness, he may come off as a little bit of a shill at times when it comes to Pokemon Go, but the thing is that he was actually defending the Pokemon Go community by bringing attention to these negative changes. So how is he still a shill when he's defending the very community in the first place? This here, ladies and gentlemen, is just another typical Verlisify example when he is trying to act like an edgy little 10-year-old that comes off cringe by insulting people and by throwing them under the bus because he literally has nothing better to do. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have to say for right now, but don't be surprised if you see another Verlisify video in your notifications, because it seems like that the guy has really started to be on his bullshit again, and honestly, it's something that cannot be ignored. Simple as that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is it here for this installment of content. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know either way, ladies and gentlemen. I always love to hear you guys back. Thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you for your time as well in viewing this video. Have yourself a damn good one, you beautiful people. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'll see you next time.